Today in history, in 1954, Kurosawa Akira's Seven Samurai was released in Japan, and it is widely considered one of the greatest and most influential films ever made.
Welcome to What the Fuck History, where we discuss the wackiest and weirdest things that make us say, well, what the fuck history. And listen here, partner. I'm your host, Zachary, and things are about to get rootin' and tootin' tonight.
My name is Meghan, and please don't call me Daddy. Call me your Auntie Papa.
And I'm Matt. Today I learned that coral spawn in synchronicity at the same time every year. So no matter what species of coral and no matter how far away they are from each other, when the rest of their species spawns, they spawn.
I did not know I'd be here for coral long-distance relationships, but I'm here for it.
The way that I saw it described, and I just want the audience to know where I got my information from because it's wild.
Yeah.
But
show me the receipts.
I heard it from David Blaine talking on a Joe Rogan podcast.
Oh my God.
Now,
David?
I want you to know that I do not subscribe to Joe Rogan. I have not watched his podcast. I only watch, like, YouTube shorts, which is TikTok Lite, essentially. So I watch YouTube shorts at work when I get bored sometimes. And today, that was the thing. And David Blaine said that if you were to take a piece of coral and break it off from, like, the main coral, and you were to put it in, like, a sink, in, like, a bucket under a sink in London, no matter what, at the same time each year, it would spawn at the same time as the other parts of its species.
Out of curiosity,
what you're telling
and this
me,
might be ignorant, who is David Blaine?
He's a magician.
He's a magician. Yeah.
That's what I thought. I thought he was a magician, but I didn't know if I was getting him confused with another David Blaine.
He's like an endurance magician, though.
Yeah.
So, like, he lives for a year and a half under ground or some shit and, like, televises it's not actually that, but I do believe he, like, lived in an elevated glass box for a time.
Why does he know so much about coral?
I don't know, and I didn't stick around to ask.
Yeah.
But I could also be wrong. David Blaine could have led me astray.
Yeah, you could have been fucking lying about the coral.
He could have been. But internet friends, Meghan and I are starting tonight with 0 strikes, and Zach is starting with 1 because of reasons that I am not going to explain to you.
If we told you, it might make your ears bleed.
It might. But we also played a completely made-up game of rock, paper, scissors. And the order for tonight is me, followed by Meghan, followed by Zach. We are going littlest to biggest. And I will kick it off.
Strap in.
What?
Strap in.
Strap
it's
in.
A threat.
Strap on.
Strap on. Attaboy.
That second one definitely is a threat. Hang on. ZD looks like she might be trying to come over. Nope, she's not. She's just readjusting herself.
All right, ZD.
In 2 weeks, she's going to have a little brother, which will be cool. So my story is super small, and it's another one of these... it's another one of these stories where the person themselves is interesting, and they did something that's so stupid, or petty, or dumb, or whatever, so my story is funny for a sentence. We can talk about it for a short amount of time, but, like, I was telling Zach and Meghan during the part of the podcast that we record before we record, which for some reason we call After Dark, even though we typically record it before the podcast, I was telling them that This is a short story, and I didn't get to research the gentleman I'm talking about in great length because I was busy today. But I am talking about a man that goes by the name of Kosrow the First.
Wow.
He is also known by the title, and again, I apologize if I mispronounce this, which I definitely will, but it's like Anushivran, which stands for Immortal Soul, or the Immortal Soul.
Yes.
And I thought that was a pretty neat title.
I mean, I've been called an old soul before, but never an immortal soul, and now I'm kind of disappointed.
One, right? Yeah, I'm also a little disappointed, but I don't need to be an immortal soul. I just think it's rude that
my friends and family have never called me an immortal soul. Like, do I not give off the vibes?
Do I not give off the vibes of an immortal soul?
Yeah, like, rude.
I'll be talking to my mother about this later. I would also love to, be the guy that's just, like, standoffish about that. Where someone just, bumps into him and he's like, hey, can't you see that I'm over here being an immortal soul or whatever?
I'm an immortal soul, but I'm also a little shy.
I'm an immortal...
Yeah, or is it something
I'm an immortal soul, but I have feelings.
About?
So anyways, that's his title. But he becomes the King of Kings in Iran. Or a section of Iran that was Iran before Iran was Iran.
Just like Jesus.
And he inherits a war with the Byzantine Empire, which was at the time led by Justinian.
Oh,
the first.
Our man.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've talked about...
It's been a while.
It's been, like, ages. Mostly since that one episode where we were talking about Justin a lot.
Yeah.
That's true. But also, remember that whole series where we just, like, talked about Justinian, like, for 3 episodes straight?
Yeah, we did talk about that for a long time. So Justin got his podcast's worth out of us then.
Absolutely.
But... anyways, shout out to Justin. Hope you're still with us,
buddy.
Shout
out to Justin.
So he becomes the King of Kings, inherits a war with the Byzantine Empire, which he tries to end quickly, and he does end up ushering in a... they call it the Eternal Peace, which is hilarious because it also gets broken while he's still alive, and then the ensuing war completely outlives Kosrow.
Nice.
Right. Well, he's an immortal soul, not a miracle worker.
That's true. But overall, his life and reign is one of philosophy and great works, and many, many reforms. And like I said, and I apologize again, but I did not research all of his reform. I did not get to research what made him like a real cool guy. You guys are welcome to Wikipedia that on your own.
I'm betting it's a lot of road work, a lot of infrastructure.
A lot of bridges.
Oh,
a lot of bridges.
Listen, ancient people, they fucking eat up the bridges and the roads. They're like, he's the greatest man who's ever graced our throne. He built the fucking Brooklyn Bridge of ancient Rome.
Dude builds a bridge and becomes a hero.
He's a fucking hero. Only gods can build bridges.
Hands being kissed and babies being shaken, so...
Yeah, as is typical.
Wait a minute.
I'm glad Meghan caught on to that.
I caught on. I was just letting it go.
So...
Maybe that's how they took care of babies back in the day.
Yeah,
we can't...
That is how they took care of babies. We will never understand
ancient cultures.
Child death was rampant.
And many people lived to the ripe old age of died in childbirth, so...
Yeah, good for them.
But what I'm here to talk about specifically is Kosrow's sacking of Antioch. So in the year of our Lord 540, Kosrow ends up destroying the city of Antioch during a battle. And he makes a new city. He builds a new city that's meant to house the prisoners of war that he took from the sacking of Antioch.
He didn't have to take them.
He builds it roughly 3 miles away from where Antioch was originally. And he calls his new city, and I'm going to mispronounce this, but it's like Antioch Kosrow. I probably said it right. But who knows? And this is like the part that makes it really funny to me, and this is the only thing that makes my story what the fuck worthy. He roughly named the city the better Antioch that Kosrow built.
What an asshole.
So, like,
dude, I love petty people in history so much.
Like, hey, I saw your old shitty Antioch, and I'll do you one better.
I feel like it's like the only name better would have been, remember that shit city Antioch? Well, this one's better.
Yeah. They were like, man, that name's starting to get pretty long in the tooth.
Yeah.
Cosmo, my boy.
Cosmo, my boy.
And he's like,
Cosmo, my boy.
Cosmo, my boy.
But,
that's a long name. And he's like, shut up, you didn't sack it.
Yeah, shut up, you didn't rebuild it. But
yeah.
I thought that
I'll
this
talk
story
to you
was
when you rebuilt a city.
too good to pass up, to be honest, because, one, I also love petty people in history.
Yeah.
But I also think it's just funny that, like, he sacks this city, he takes prisoners of war, and then the prison colony that he sends them to is essentially like Antioch, but better because I built it. And then he changes nothing about their lives. He literally moves the POWs into Antioch built by Kosrow, and he's like, okay, go ahead.
It's like, I don't know how to describe it other than if, like, I'm almost thinking, like, there was a documentary that was made a while back by the same guy that made Super Size Me.
Yeah.
And it's called The Greatest Movie Ever Sold, presented by Palm Wonderful.
Yes, that movie was fucking great.
And for those of you who don't know, it's literally just a documentary about product placement that is funded only by product placement. So it's like, it's like if a large corporation was like, this thing presented by this corporation. Instead, it's like, this city
thing presented
by Cosmo.
Yeah, it's Antioch presented by Kosrow. It's Beats by Dre. Except it's a city.
By Antioch by Cosmo.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's good.
Dude, I know that's not his name, but calling him Cosmo just
so makes me wonder where Wanda is.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Timmy Turner?
But
where is he?
But yeah, so that was like, I was very excited about this story just because, first of all, guys, I'm gonna tell you a trade secret here. We tell a lot of stories about history, and sometimes
it's kind of our whole deal.
Sometimes, guys, stories aren't that long, but they are kind of funny. And what is kind of funny is a fucking Iranian emperor saying, I destroyed your city, but I built it again and named it the city that you already lived in that I built.
It's the equivalent of a toddler making a mud pie in a sandbox and constantly badgering his mom like, look what I did, look what I did, look what I did.
What's also great is, according to reports, he made it look very similar to the original Antioch. So it is sort of like the older brother who broke his younger brother's Lego sculpture and then was forced by his parents to remake it.
But like half-assedly.
He's like, okay, but I'm putting my name on it.
Except he made it better. He didn't half-ass it.
You guys got the beta version of Antioch. I'm giving you the full release.
I'm giving you the full release.
Yeah.
The 2.0 version, if you will.
Actually... Yeah, it's the Baldur's Gate we've all been waiting for. And if you just
so happen to wait a little bit, there will be a DLC where I'm not even the ruler anymore.
Guys, I can't wait for Antioch 3 to come out next year.
Dude, Antioch 3 is going to be lit.
Damn, I can't wait.
I've seen some great reviews.
I can't wait for Civ 7, and this guy's in it.
I want that. Oh.
But anyways.
I can't wait for Cosmo, my boy, to be one of the leaders.
Can we actually get a Civilization game that's just all weird, obscure rulers that no one's ever heard about?
I think that'd be
God,
great.
I would love it.
Fuck, I don't want to play as Abraham Lincoln. I want to play as this guy.
Contact Sid.
I'm going to contact Sid right now. The special power that you get as this ruler is the ability when you conquer a city is to just make a new city right next to it with the same name.
Dude, one time Civilization, like the team, they were hiring for like a history person.
And you were like, I am that person?
I was 2 seconds. I was 2 seconds away to handing them my resume. And then they were like, oh, but like, can you code? And I was like, I'm bringing the personality. So, no.
I'm the ideas, man.
There is a mod in Civ 6 that lets you play as Kosrow the First. Apparently.
Really?
That's what I've been told.
I am downloading it now.
Who are your sources?
The internet. I felt very much like Timmy Turner just now because that was his excuse every time they asked him where he got stuff.
The internet. The internet. And his parents were like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense.
It's like every single boomer who like is like, what's the problem with kids these days? And they're like, the internet.
Oh my god, you are totally correct. That's so fucking great.
That was my whole story.
That's... do you want to jump into mine?
We can definitely jump into yours, or we can sit and talk awkwardly about Fairly Godparents for a little bit.
I mean, it would never be awkward. It's always a delight.
It is always a delight. I am also going to lounge because my back hurts. So let me know if you can't hear me, but you should be able to hear me still.
Yeah. All right. So, strap in.
Strap on.
Strap on, strap in. It's another episode of What Story Did Meghan Bring to the Table, because she wrote it a while ago.
Ooh, a mystery bag.
Tell us.
Ooh, a mystery.
Tell us the title of your story.
You can call me Auntie Papa.
Auntie Papa.
Auntie Papa. Ooh.
Yeah.
It's like the anti-pope.
So
the anti-papa.
No, that's what it is. That's what they call. Yeah. So I first found out about the anti-papas like a few years ago, where I lost my mind because that's what they call popes that challenge the legitimate pope.
Oh, I didn't know popes could duke it out in the ring.
Well, have you never heard of the story of three popes?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so there were they all called each other the Antipapa.
I think it's very funny because of the Papa aspect of it, because I grew up in a time with Stranger Things, and she called the psychotic doctor who was trying to give her powers Papa, and so it's just like the anti-Papa is a very funny sentence, or a very funny term to me.
It is. You are like probably Papa.
You are like Papa.
See, your brain says like that, and then my brain automatically goes, Papa, can you hear me?
Papa, can you hear me?
Papa. I just think of it as like a strange way to call someone daddy.
It is
like
I don't like being called daddy in the bedroom, but if you call me the anti-Papa, we're gonna be sinful tonight.
All bets are off if you call me the anti-Papa in the bedroom.
Either that or yes, chef, are the only two acceptable things.
Oh my god.
Or chef, yes, chef.
I just need you to know that if I'm ever clapping cheeks and I hear yes, chef, I will be too busy laughing to continue.
No, dude, yes, chef is the best because it's gender neutral.
No, yes, chef is great, and I'm not disputing that, but I personally would not be able to take it seriously.
I don't know. I think it would make me try harder. It would make me try harder. I'd be like, wow, I've earned this title.
Yeah, right?
I'm making a delicious dish.
At the very end, you're just like, was this a 3 Michelin star experience?
Please give me a good rating and review on Yelp.
Yeah, please review me on Yelp.
Am I as good as a Singaporean street stall to you? I just need to know if I beat the food stalls out. All right. So I'm sure that we could go on about...
We absolutely could.
Different things. But, okay, so You Can Call Me Auntie Papa is the title of my story.
We haven't even gotten past the title.
We haven't gotten past the title.
We're too busy with sex and Michelin stars.
That's so true.
Noble
I read
pursuits.
this thing the other day that was like, my husband, when we start having sex, says goblin mode on, and then when we're done, he says goblin mode off, and he keeps telling me he doesn't know what I'm talking about when I try to bring it up to him.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
That's what I imagine would happen if you called someone the Auntie Papa. They would, like, ignore you. They would pretend that they don't know what you're talking about.
I think that'd be great.
Okay, so, I know that I have done, like, a few stories about, like, bad popes in the past.
Yeah.
But these are not, bad popes are not to be confused with the antipapas, who are like the negapopes, who claim to be the pope when they weren't exactly elected.
Negascot.
And as we talked, it's like in Sailor Moon, you had like the Negaverse.
Yeah.
That's where these popes come from.
It's like Dark Link,
and
but
as we're
Dark Pope.
Dark Pope, yeah. So we were talking about the Avignon papacy earlier when there were like 3 popes and they all called each other like the Nega Pope because while they were elected by their council of cardinals, they weren't elected by the official council of cardinals, if that makes sense, because the papacy was split. Anyway, we're not talking about the Avignon papacy right now. Today, we are going to talk about a bad pope, one that was a little less holy than his office would imply. His name is John the 12th. But like all other popes, he was born with a different government name.
Yeah.
Because they all aren't born Pope John. You know, they don't come out and they're like, Pope Celeste, here you are. They choose those names.
Yeah.
So Pope John's name was originally Octavianus.
Okay, but that's a better name.
I know, I get it, but you're not allowed to have cool names when you're the Pope.
Yeah, you get names like John or Peter.
Rules.
Or Benedict.
Yeah, you get John, Peter, Benedict.
Okay, but Benedict's not bad.
Benedict's not terrible. Celeste, also not terrible. Sixtus, interesting, but whatever. So, Octavianus was the son of a Roman patrician and ascended, if you will, to the papacy sometime during his late teens and early 20s. When I was in my late teens and early 20s, I was, and still am, living at home and was not up for the papacy. So, different life paths. Just, we all have different opportunities in this life, and being the Pope was not presented to me. So he's in his early 20s, probably. And he was elected to the papacy in December of 955.
Wow.
And around 960, John personally led an attack against 2 of the Lombard duchies to reclaim parts of the papal states. So like that weird area in the middle of Italy where that was all the papal states at one point.
All right, boys, we're crusading again.
We're crusading again against ourselves because we're fighting. And
Insular
God
crusading,
told us
yay.
Insular crusading, yeah, and the big papa, God, if you will, told us that we had to play nice with each other.
The papa of papas.
The papa to end all papas.
Dude, instead of using the King of Kings, the Uber papa, yeah, can you imagine if in the Bible, like, instead of saying God was the King of Kings, they just said, like, the papa of
He's
papas?
the papa of papas.
I'd use my fucking mind.
Well, I mean, to your point earlier where you were talking about, like, anti-papa and, like, saying daddy, I mean, there is that whole, like, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned is just another way of saying, sorry, daddy, I've been naughty.
It's all about phrasing. Truly. So they did some insular crusading. And upon seeing John marching at the head of the army, the two dukes of the Lombard duchies appealed to the king of Salerno, forcing John to sign a treaty that said the papacy and Jesus's greasy little fingies couldn't claim Salerno as part of the papal states. So they're just like, hey, get out of here. You can't. This is not papacy land. So John realized that he was unable to control the powerful Roman nobility by himself, so he naturally turns to the King of Germany, named Otto.
As they so often are.
I don't know why that name... Yeah, I don't know why that name is so funny to me. Also, in my notes, Otto is in all caps.
Is that why you decided to shout it moments ago?
Yeah, I don't know why I put Otto in all caps. I think at the time I thought it was funny.
Otto is a great name.
That's
you
a really
sleep deprived.
It's a funny name.
Now I'm also thinking of, like, you say auto and I think a car, and I'm just imagining a dude in a crown slapping the hood of a car saying, you can fit so many Germans in this baby.
You can fit the entire German army in this baby.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I think when I think Otto is, like, just Otto von Bismarck, which is literally the only ruler that I know from that area.
Maybe it was him. Who can say? Because his only name to me is Otto, King of Germany.
King of Kings. Papa of Papas.
King of Kings. The Papa of Papas. The Papas of Germany. So Otto the First... he lended aid against the powers that were trying to claw out pieces of the papal states themselves. And upon Otto decides, like, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to help the Pope. I'm going to do God's work here. And upon entering Rome, Otto declared that he would do everything to defend the Pope. And John proceeded to crown Otto as emperor of the Holy Roman Empire and swore his own allegiance to him. So, like, Otto is swearing allegiance to John, and John is saying, like, I recognize you as the emperor, so let's have a beautiful, beautiful political alliance together. Not gay, just political.
And they were roommates.
and they were political allies. A little less sexy, but...
It is a little less sexy now that you mention it.
I know. Well, we can't all have the Clinton presidency, so... Can't all be about the blue dress and the cigar. So now, the juicy part of John's papacy was how worldly he was. And I feel like worldly is just a good euphemism for, like, just getting his dick sucked. So... People contemned him for this because he wasn't just the Pope. He was also, like, a secular prince of Rome, which is, like, this isn't the case now. Like, the Pope is the Pope, but before, the Pope also, like, ruled the Papal States as, like, an actual political figure.
Yeah.
So they kind of had to balance this, like, we are men of God, but also we're men, you know, as they say, of the world. So he was a secular prince of Rome and a man of God. And in his depictions, he is a coarse and immoral man. He was accused of using the papal palaces as brothels. He went to mass without taking communion. Gasp. He paid people off to ordain bishops, specifically ones that were underaged. So 12-year-old bishops, notoriously not great for the church's image. Adultery, he was also accused of. So he had, among the people that he was fucking, a widow, his father's concubine, another widow, and his own niece were just a few. So he was like making like the baseball rounds, you know, like he was going on all the different bases, and home plate, I guess, was like the niece as he slid into incest. He went hunting publicly. He blinded his confessor because he didn't like him, and that killed the guy.
Yes.
He had a cardinal castrated, and he toasted the devil with wine. I don't know why you would do this one. Like, hail Satan. And he just held up a goblet. He played dice. He prayed to the old gods. Zach.
Yeah.
A man after your own
See,
heart.
this is my problem. You keep, like, listing his Catholic sins, and then I'm like...
He fits right in.
Well, that's the thing. Well, yeah, he fits right in. But, like, you're, like, listing his Catholic sins, and I'm like, yeah, I love this guy. I love this guy. And then you drop some shit like fucking his niece, and I'm like, damn it. He praised the old gods. Also incest. And I'm like, well, now I can't root for him.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, blinding his confessor, also not great. Like...
I mean, if the guy was a dick.
Yeah, if the guy was a dick... That's true. Also, he didn't make the sign of the cross. I don't understand how this man became pope.
Why would he make the sign of the cross? He prays to the old gods.
I think he declared himself pope.
He definitely is confused about what he's looking for in the religious aspects of his life. He's like, hail Satan and Odin. Hell yeah, brother.
Look. Sometimes you gotta date around religion. Sometimes you're not ready to settle down with a religion, and you just gotta kind of see what's out there.
Here's the thing, though. Most people who are, like, trying to discover their spirituality aren't already pope. So, like, I feel like you're pretty locked and loaded when you get, like, ordained as pope.
Yeah, you kind of fucking signed up for a long-term commitment there.
You definitely did.
Look, he was cheating on everyone else. Why doesn't he cheat on God, too, I guess?
Yeah, I guess. I feel like Satan isn't that much of a stickler. Like, he chose Satan. He's like, hail Satan. And then like, the next day, he starts, like, praying to Zeus. And Satan's like, yeah, that's cool. Like, I'm not a jealous god.
I can't really, like, speak for Satan, but I feel like Satan's cool with polyamory, you know?
Oh, 1,000%. He's watch, I'm gonna go to hell. I'm gonna meet Satan. He's like, actually, I'm very monogamous, and like, it means a lot to me. Yeah. It means a lot to me that, like, I have this bond of trust and one-on-one, and I'm gonna be like, I'm so sorry about that one podcast we made.
I'm sorry we passed dispersions against you and we assumed things.
I'm so sorry. Your church just so much for the needy. So after listing all of those things, some seem more egregious than others, but all of them sound dope as hell at a party.
I think the one that gets you sent to hell is not making the sign of the cross.
That's true.
Everything else sounds acceptable to me. That not making the sign of the cross is like, can't be forgiven.
Yeah, it's up there. Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's why I go around castrating people. I'm like, do the sign of the cross, and some people don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm like, castration.
Straight to jail.
It makes me an absolute nightmare at my job, let me tell you. So in the end, John ended up having a falling out with Otto. Yep. Before leaving Rome, Otto urged John to give up his worldly and sensual lifestyle, which John ignored. I would too if my lifestyle was described as sensual. I'd be like, thank you so much. More than that, though, John was fearful of Otto's growing power and tried to form a league against him. However, John's ambassadors were captured by Otto, who then sent a deputation to Rome to discover what was happening. In the meantime, John sent his own envoys to Otto to try and convince him that they had truly turned over a new leaf and were reforming the papal court. They're like, we the palaces are no longer brothels, we assure you. So, like, no more orgies in the palaces and all that. However, when Otto came back to Rome, none of that was happening. And instead, he found a city that was divided between his supporters and those that supported John and the papacy. So John realized that he couldn't defeat Otto militarily, so he fled across the Tiber with the papal treasury. Of course, he was like, I need the jewels if I'm going to maintain this lifestyle. And Otto then summoned a council which demanded that John come out and defend himself against the charges of being a bad pope. And John then responded by threatening to excommunicate anyone who attempted to depose him. He was like, I'm not afraid to tell God that you're a bad person if you're mean to me, is essentially what he said.
Don't bully me, I'll damn you to hell.
That is so true, though. He's like, don't bully me, I will damn you. Don't bully me, I'll come. Undeterred.
We didn't need to bring it there, but we did.
Don't bully me, I'll come send God after you.
I'll come send God after you. So undeterred, Otto deposed him. He was like, I'm not afraid of seeing you come dispose me. And so Otto deposed him and elected another pope in his stead. So John officially becomes an anti-papa at this point. And John didn't know that he was no longer pope because he had fucked off to go hunting in the mountains by this time. He was like, I understand that I'm fighting for my life out here, but like, I need some R&R. You know, I'm gonna go hunt.
I would also love it if he didn't know he wasn't pope because he didn't speak Latin.
That would also be funny.
It was just a surprise to him because the decree was written in Latin and he doesn't speak it.
Yeah, like, unclear what John's deal was.
He clearly had a lot going on.
He had a lot going on. So some of the residents of Rome tried to defend John. Why? I don't know. Maybe they liked the juicy goss of people fucking in St. Peter's. Yeah. I would defend him too in that case. However, Otto squashed it, like the people trying to defend him, and it was a heavy loss of life to the city. Like, he killed a lot of people who were trying to defend John. And when Otto left, John came skulking back and actually got rid of the Pope that had been elected with some good old torture. He then decided it was time to make some amends with Otto and headed out to meet him. However, on the way, John died while enjoying an adulterous sexual encounter. And it is rumored that he died at the hands of an outraged husband who didn't believe the Pope was just doing it for Jesus and threw him out a window.
He defenestrated the anti-papa?
Yeah, the Pope turned anti-papa, turned back into Pope. And that's the story of John the 12th. I know that was long, but...
That was a fucking roller coaster, and I love it.
I gotta be honest.
It was a roller coaster.
I'm mostly impressed with Zach reaching for the top shelf with the word defenestrate.
It's one of my favorites.
That's a fucking SAT word, bud, and it's got no business here.
Look, sometimes you have to reach for the top shelf words to remind people that you're literate.
Zach.
Yeah, that's so true, though.
We type our notes.
Yeah?
People know that we know words.
They don't... Unless you pay us money, you don't see that we type notes.
That's true. All right, fine. I'll allow the top shelf word this time.
Sometimes you just need the champagne of words.
Sometimes is defenestrate the champagne of words.
Why not?
I would say it's like a Cadillac.
Can we just say that
It's like
champagne is not the champagne of drinks? Like, I don't consider champagne to be a top shelf beverage.
Look, the only time that I like champagne is when I have a death in the afternoon.
Okay.
Oh, damn.
That's
quotable.
That was a quote of the week for sure.
Well, a death in the afternoon is a cocktail.
Oh.
It was Ernest Hemingway's favorite cocktail.
Oh, that makes you pretentious.
Oh, I thought you meant like... Damn, I legitimately thought that what you were saying was I only drink champagne if I have a funeral to go to.
No, I that's also pretty dope. But no, it's a cocktail that Ernest Hemingway came up with. That's just as batshit crazy as he is.
You know what I've been really enjoying recently as far as cocktails go, and I know that this is not the point of the podcast, but Zach said it, and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I've been fucking with old fashions a lot recently.
Old fashions are great.
Old fashions are so good.
What's really good is a sake old fashioned.
Wow.
I'll believe you.
I will also believe you until I can have a chance
Confirm or
to
deny?
try. I went to a work event last week and had 2 old fashions.
For now, the sake cocktail shall remain Schrodinger's sake.
Schrodinger's cocktail.
Sure.
All right. Okay.
Absolute straight.
Right, fine, I'll take it. It's a good thing Steve's not on this podcast, because if we give strikes for puns or just bad innuendos, I feel like that's Steve's whole wheelhouse.
He would absolutely be...
Yeah.
Yeah. He would be obliterated.
Absolutely.
3 strikes immediately. Okay, I earned it.
Yeah, he logs on and he makes a dad pun, and we're like, no.
Nope. That's an automatic 3 strikes.
You kidding me? He'd make him in the Discord chat before we began recording.
We start.
Oh, that's so true.
I love him, though.
Absolutely so true.
I love him.
Oh, same. But, you are who you are, and own it.
Own it, for sure. He does. If anyone ever has, it's him, for sure.
Look, the only 2 people that I accept dad jokes / puns from is Steve and Jason.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
they own it.
They own it. They believe it.
I'm going to take the metaphorical, or rather imaginary, talking stick from
Jesus,
Meghan.
take the wheel.
I guess I'm Jesus now.
I feel like this whole time
Deal
I've been
with it.
holding it to you. As we've been talking about old fashions, I've just been poking you with the talking stick.
Oh,
Well,
yeah, that
now that I
imagery
have
does
it-
help.
That imagery does help. But I'm gonna talk about my shenanigans tonight. My chicanery.
It's a good word. That's also an SAT word.
You're welcome. I'm top shelf tonight, baby.
I am going to have to give you another
dude.
strike.
Why?
Why?
Because we've done the top shelf. Pick from the middle shelves. Otherwise,
Look,
you're just
No,
showing
don't
off
give-
your height.
Don't give him
Sometimes I'm.
don't give him a strike for reaching.
Look,
Hey, Matt.
I'm not trying to, but I'm a tired boy, and I don't feel like being smart right now.
Look, all I gotta say is don't hate me because you ain't me.
Okay, you earned a strike for that
Yeah.
one for sure, though.
I don't mind that at all.
Okay, so we're keeping it at 2 strikes.
As long as it's not for
We're
the
not
word.
penalizing him for being on the top shelf, but we are penalizing him for making a quote from that one movie with James Franco trying to kill Kim Jong-un.
All right. I didn't even know it was from that.
Have you?
that one movie.
Yeah, it's a quote. Well, there's a quote in that movie where they go, "They hate us because they ain't us."
Well, now I just feel awful inside.
As you should, which is why you got the strike.
But if you couldn't tell by my intro, we are once again going to be returning to the good old Wild West for my episode tonight.
Oh,
Love that journey.
are we
for
doing
us.
Gentleman Crimesman?
What was that?
Is this Gentleman Crimesman? Or are we doing a Gentleman Crimesman?
We'll get to it. Because specifically, we're talking about a Wild West robbery. And speaking to that, Meghan, I have not forgot about my heinous gentleman of history, but I'm on a bit of a robbery kick lately, and I'm following my bliss.
Fine. No, that's fine. It's just like sometimes when you do, well, more often than not, when you like take a trip into the Old West.
It is for a gentleman
it's like usually about it. It is for a gentleman crimesman.
Yeah, that is true. I do love the gentleman crimesman of the Old West, but I'm in heist mode because, well, heists are really fun to talk about.
They are a good time.
They are a good time. Good time had by all, except for those getting robbed. But fuck them. We took it. Also, I would like to state that if I was in a heist, my nickname would be the janitor, because I can almost guarantee I'd be the one having to clean up everyone else's fucking mess.
Oh, okay.
That's fair.
What would Matt's be?
Whoa.
Yeah.
I want to know.
I would be the muscle.
Okay.
The muscle?
Yeah.
Oh, because I imagined, much like those stories that I wrote about us in college, that you would be the one who would, like, pose as the security guard and be like, nothing to see here. Sorry, this hallway's closed.
I mean, that's also fair. I think that would work for me. I could see that.
Matt is the actor.
I am the actor.
The actor.
Meghan, what would your heist name be?
I don't know. Mostly because I don't know what my role would be in a heist.
That's actually really imperative. Like, it all depends on your role.
Yeah, like I will get back to you about that because I haven't thought about what my role would be, and I don't want to hold up your story.
Okay, I appreciate that, because my story tonight is going to be talking about Sam Bass and the Union Pacific Big Springs robbery. You said Sam Bass, and all I thought about was Chuck Bass from fucking Gossip Girl. Yep.
That. I was like, Chuck Bass, Gossip Girl.
XOXO, Gossip Girl.
XOXO, it's Chuck Bass, everyone.
But yeah, the Union Pacific Big Springs robbery, which is a big name, but it was also a big robbery. So hold on to your hats, and let's get a stealin'.
Let's get a stealin'.
The date is September 18th, 1877. Yes, I'm giving specific dates for once, and yeah, so deal with it. It's not just a year; it's actual dates. It was a good year. The number 4.
A good day.
The number 4 train of the Union Pacific, one of the largest train operations in the United States, is leaving San Francisco with a load of goodies. Ooh. The train makes a regular stop at Big Springs, Nebraska, to fill up at a remote watering station. Because trains are just big metal horses, as you know, and even they need water.
That's true.
The time...
I've heard that before.
I just love the imagery of that.
Yeah, train's whistle is just a weird neigh. You didn't know that?
I just like the idea of Zach sitting down with a person who knows nothing about trains. And he's like, a train is a big metal horse.
Don't ever let me talk to the aliens on first contact. I will confuse them. The time is approximately 10:45 at night when 6 men approach on horseback. These 6 men are none other than Sam Bass and the Black Hills Bandits. Now, a bit of derailment. See what I did there?
Is that a train pun?
Uh-huh.
To give you a bit of backstory on Sam Bass himself. Sam was born on July 21st in 1851, where he was quickly orphaned just before his 13th birthday.
Oh, okay, classic.
Classic Wild West shenanigans.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't have a bandit story without at least one orphan, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Those are the rules.
Them the rules, I don't make them up. Despite his status as an orphan in the Wild West, he ends up getting a reputable job at a sawmill when later in his teens, before kind of meandering further west and beginning work for the sheriff in Denton, Texas. And he does some other jobs after he does his sheriff work in Denton. He wrangles cattle, but is ultimately dismayed by the low pay and long hours. I feel ya, brother.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed. However, he really comes into his own when he buys a horse and begins his career as a horse racer.
Nice.
Oh.
And in this time, while he is horse racing, he was known as a fair sport and an upstanding man. Some might even call him
a gentleman.
A gentleman. That's right, I wouldn't leave you hanging, people. Cue the fucking music.
Oh my god.
He baited us.
It is the gentleman crimesman.
It's a gentleman crimesman story.
So Bass and his partner, Joel Collins, not sure if that's phrasing is just business or if there's pleasure involved. I didn't look into it. End up retiring from horse racing, and they start a cattle drive. However, as they're doing the cattle drive, they immediately lose all of the money that was given to them by the ranchers to do this cattle drive because they gambled it all away in Deadwood.
Yes.
Fuck.
Now, this is where Sam and Joel turn to each other and say, hey, making an honest living out here in the West kinda sucks. Why don't we just take whatever we want? And they do!
And they do! Congratulations! You've unlocked top-tier banditry.
Now, flash back to reality.
Oh, there goes gravity.
Oh, there goes gravity.
I have that written in my notes. The notes literally read, now we flash back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, there goes Sammy's robbing a train again. And I didn't know if I was going to get a third strike for that, so I didn't fucking say it.
I'll take a strike if I have to.
No, don't. I'm cutting it close to the edge with 2 strikes. I couldn't risk the third.
Eminem is a gentleman crimesman.
So, we return to the night of September 17th, 1877, and about at 10:50 at night, like 5 minutes after they start creeping up on the train, our boy Sam and the Black Hills gang board the train and immediately begin to rob the place. Now, this isn't like a typical passenger train, it's mostly freight, so it's not a ton of people, but it's a lot of goodies. And
That's what we're looking for.
What was that?
That's what we're looking for.
That's what we're looking for. We're just looking for the goodies.
The goodies.
Less people, the better. Because fuck people, they're the worst.
And listen, no offense to the poors, but they got nothing to rob.
Nothing to rob. So it's mostly goodies, but there are a few passenger cars. And they head back to the safe where the passengers have stored all of their goods. And they grab about $450 along the way. It's not a great take, but it's something, you know?
What do you mean? Back in the day?
Yeah.
That wasn't a good take?
I mean, $450, like, it's a couple $1,000s, you know?
Oh, okay, I guess.
But split between 6 people, it's
you got
it's 11.
You got a $20 bill.
Yeah, you got a $20 bill. It's great. But Sam didn't come for small potatoes, so they grab a train attendant and they start to interrogate him. And what they didn't account for, because they're like, hey, open the safe. And the attendant's like, hey, I can't open the safe. Because they had this newfangled technology called a time lock, and that time lock wouldn't expire until the train was supposed to reach the station. So they're kind of at a loss here, and one of the men in Bellamy, Sam, I said almost Sam Bellamy, which is a pirate and not a robber. Sam Bass, one of his crew.
Week.
Exactly. One of Sam Bass's crew kind of gets fed up, and he doesn't believe that this guy is telling the truth. He thinks that the time lock doesn't exist, so he gets frustrated and immediately pistol whips this attendant in order to try to get him to cooperate. And
why is this a D&D heist? Like, why is this literally a D&D heist where it's just like, oh, you won't tell me exactly what I need to know right now when I want it?
Pistol whip.
Kill him.
Yeah, so one of Sam's crew pistol whips the attendant, and Sam doesn't like this because Sam is not an asshole, And he immediately tells the other robber to back off, because he's a gentleman. And
that's true.
So the boys are like, fuck it, we don't have any money, but like, at least we're out of here. It is what it is. $450 it's all we got. So they're about to leave the train, and then Sam catches something out of the corner of his eyes that the other robbers did not. And it's these 3 big wooden boxes stacked up by the main safe. And when they open them up, guess what's inside?
Lots more money.
Is it gold?
Yeah, lots more money. Because it's full of freshly minted $20 coins. Yes. Right off the presses of the San Francisco Mint. Just boxes of freshly minted $20 coins headed in for circulation, and they never made it to circulation because the gang takes it all.
Well, I mean, they did. They did make it into circulation, just not in the route that they anticipated.
It stimulated the economy.
Yeah. Of their economy.
The haul was valued around $60,000.
Nice.
Which is real nice because I did the math for you.
Yes.
Oh,
and that rounds out to about carry the 1 and multiply, and $1.7 million in today's money.
Nice.
Yes. He did it.
That's a whole lot better than 450 smackaroonies.
Yeah.
So this marks the first robbery of the Union Pacific train, and also the largest robbery of a Union Pacific train. And Sam Bass and the Black Hills gang make it out of there scot-free, never get caught for this robbery.
So,
and it is...
I have a question.
Yeah?
I have a question. How did they... So, they never got caught, right?
So, they didn't, get caught leaving the train. They were not caught during the heist. Let me rephrase.
Oh, okay. Because, how did people know who stole the shit?
Yeah.
If they never got caught?
So they do this train robbery, and they get away from the train robbery, no problem. And this actually starts Sam Bellamy's, infamy. It's not... Sam Bellamy did a couple of heists before this.
His name's not Sam Bellamy. This is the one that put him on the map.
Sam Bass. It's another Sam B, all right?
I just want to make sure that our audience knows we're not talking about Pirates of the Caribbeans.
No, not Pirates of the Caribbeans. I apologize. Sam Bass. So this put Sam Bass on the map, and he was a very low-time criminal before this, and then he does this robbery, and a bunch of gunslinging mercenaries is the wrong word, bounty hunters, are all right, let's fucking get this guy. There's a contract out on him, and he, gains this infamy from it. And it is said that the gang ends up splitting their take 6 ways evenly under a prominent cottonwood tree that stood alone on the prairie, which is kind of romantic, and I dig it.
Why do they know that?
Look, sometimes shit about the Old West is overly romanticized and may not be completely historically accurate, despite this being a history podcast, but I think it was a nice little thing to add.
Here's the thing. We have fucking GPS, we have satellite images, and we can't tell where, Mexican cartels are.
Yeah,
but we know that they shared a beautiful moonlight moment as they split up the money.
Look, someone probably wrote it in their dream diary.
I'm done. I'm done.
But Sam would take most of his share and spend it handsomely, eventually being deemed a Robin Hood-like figure, as he was said to make, quote, payments of $20 for a dozen eggs or a pan of warm biscuits, reportedly from many directions. So basically he would, overpay everyone because he had the money for it.
Man, can you imagine spending more for eggs in 1860 than eggs actually cost today, which is almost $20?
Right. However, Sam also returns back to robbing only 4 months after this train robbery, which leads a lot of people to believe, myself included, that Sam basically just liked to rob for sport rather than for profit, which makes me like him even better.
Yeah.
If you have fun with it. If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
If you love what you do.
But to put a not-so-nice little bow on the story, Sam lives until the ripe old age of 27 because he died.
What the fuck?
Yep.
He joins the 27 Club.
He's like the first member of the 27 Club. He dies after being taken into custody after a shootout with the law. And in fact, he only makes it to the ripe old age of 27 because the outlaw Sam Bass dies on July 21st, 1878, on his 27th birthday.
Dang, dude.
No.
Poor boy.
Poor boy. Poor Steely boy.
Oh, the greats are taken from us too young.
Ugh. We lose him too young for sure. Only the good, bad robbers die young.
Good, bad,
but that's
Steely
it.
boys.
That's the story of Sam Bass and the Union Pacific. What's the whole? It's a big mouthful.
Yeah, you did.
Let me make sure I get
was
it
a
right.
whole-
The Union Pacific Big Springs robbery.
There you go. I don't think there's anything else to say, but at the end of the podcast, what's really fun for me is when I launch into, like, my goodbye and Zach interrupts me and talks about... Yep. Oh, there it is.
That's the sound cue.
Is that?
Yeah. Hey, folks. Thanks for listening tonight. We appreciate you jumping into our space here to enjoy our shenanigans. We really appreciate that you listen, but also the best way to help us out, guess what, is a free way to help us out. If you head on over to Apple Podcasts, you can give us a 5-star rating and a review. Sometimes if we have a new review, we like to read it out for our listeners. Also, just giving us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or you can do both if you're nice. Spotify helps us by kind of moving us up the charts and making it so that the all-knowing, all-seeing algorithm lets people, or rather the machines, know that people like us. So if you want to do that, or you could also just tell a friend. We don't advertise. We don't pay for advertisement. So the best way to get this show to be known is for you to tell someone about it. You can also follow us on Facebook. If you look up the Triumvirate Productions on Facebook, you can find us on Instagram at _Triumvirate_Productions. Also, I feel like I say triumvirate, but in case you don't know how to spell that, it's TRIUMVIRATE. You can also join our Patreon. We've talked a little bit about some Patreon stuff, but if you look up the Triumvirate Productions on Patreon or go to www.patreon.com/Triumvirate Productions, you can find us there. We have a $3, $5, and $10 level where you can get some extra fun bonus content like our After Dark and also unedited episodes. And with that, I think I've wrapped up my stuff that normally interrupts Matt. So, Matt, I'll let you resume. Boop-a-doop-boop.
I like how I sit for the end. I don't have an outro.
I mean, you did that one time.
You did what the piss history will go down in history.
Honestly, the best ending to an episode that we've ever had.
It was so off the cuff.
I solidly laughed for 5 minutes after that episode wrapped. And I went to bed that night, like, thinking about it and laughing to myself.
Should I do a picture where it's like a beautiful picture of Paris and then over the skyline of, like, the fucking Eiffel Tower in, like, beautiful calligraphy? It's just like, what the piss? Where's the piss history?
Yeah. I'm just gonna get a picture of the Eiffel Tower and put it in a lovely piss sepia tone.
Yeah, piss sepia.
A piss sepia.
But anyways, now that we've reached the end of our podcast and Zach has said beautiful, wonderful things, I will close out the way that I always do with the faithful question: what the fuck, history?
Awesome.
Are we turning off, or do we have anything more to say?
I think we're Gucci.
I think we can turn off.
We're Gucci?
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to make sure.
Count us out whenever you're ready.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, start.